Good afternoon, everybody. We're letting just open the doors and letting everybody get in and get seated. Even though this is via Zoom, my name is John Fehrenbach. I am going to allow everybody to get in and kind of get their volume set up and their screen set up. You will notice that you aren't able to turn on your cameras, and the chat, to the best of my knowledge, has been disabled as well. We are about to embark on a journey with Mr. Tanner about how our business solutions can help our businesses. I know that me as a business owner, I love having the ability to have the same access to ID theft and legal protection as what a Fortune 500 company might have for a fraction of the cost, for sure. I'm from Canton, Ohio. If you're not familiar, or actually Louisville, Ohio, which is right outside of Canton, Ohio. If you're not familiar with where Canton is, if you know where Cleveland is, I'm about 60 miles south of that. Again, welcome to the meeting here this evening, or this afternoon. It's 12 o'clock on 9/21, and we are about to hear from Mr. Jim Tanner. Again, we'll give everybody another minute to get plugged in and make sure that they can hear us. Again, you won't be able to turn on your cameras, and I do believe that the chat has been disabled as well. But we are about to hear from Mr. Tanner, and I'm certain that we are all looking forward to that. We'll give it one more minute. I'll introduce Mr. Tanner, and we will go from there. By my clock, it's 12:02. I don't want to take too much more time, Jim. If you don't know, Jim has been with Legal Shield for nearly 20 years. And he serves currently as the vice president for the New England region. And I'm sure they're thrilled to have him in that particular area. He is near the Boston, Massachusetts area. I'm sure he'll tell you that as well. And he and his team have helped thousands upon thousands of business owners and their employees through the years. Again, a little bit of housekeeping. You won't be able to have the chat or the video. The chat, or you won't be able to turn on your video. This is just a more of a webinar style type presentation here this afternoon. Again, welcome, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Jim Tanner, 20 years in the business with Legal Shield, helping thousands of people across the U.S. and Canada. Mr. Jim Tanner.
John, thanks very much. I appreciate you getting us kicked off today. I'm excited to be here. I'm grateful for all of you that are here with us live. We hit record on this, so I recognize that some of you are going to be watching this after the fact on replay. And we're going to be talking today about our great company, our corporate identity, PPLSI, and I'm going to talk about our flagship products here in a moment. But the reason we're here, I just want to make sure that you understand why we're here. What our company does is it protects businesses and families and the employees of those businesses and the families of those employees. And in a greater way, as I'll show you and reveal here in a few minutes, we are helping change the fabric of communities across the nation. Now, that's a big, bold promise, but I'm going to show you what our company does and why we're so proud of what we do and why we believe that we can help you. So there's a few different people here in this audience today. Some of you are business owners and you have businesses. Maybe you have employees, maybe you do not, but you're wrestling with some challenges as a business owner, and I'm going to address those for you today. For those of you that do have employees, I'm going to show you how what we do will help you attract the quality talent you're looking for, help you retain those folks, keep them happy, and allow them to live their lives in a completely different way. Again, bold promise, but I'm going to show you that information as well. And by the way, I'm going to keep to about 30 minutes total because I want to respect your time. It's 9 o'clock a.m., 9:04 a.m. on the Pacific time. It's a little afternoon here, lunchtime on the East Coast. And I'm just going to get into this information for you. But before I do, John alluded to it a little bit about my story. And February will be 20 years that I've been with this great company. But it's been even longer than that I've been involved because I became a customer of one of the flagship products 10 years prior to that. So my story goes back a full 30 years with this incredible company. And let's talk about the company. Who is PPLSI? Well, we're North America's leading provider of legal safeguards and one of the leading providers of identity theft protection for individuals and families and small businesses. Today, from that corporate headquarters in rural Oklahoma, that incredible campus houses over 700 of our employees that serve the needs of 35,000 companies that are offering Legal Shield and ID Shield as a voluntary employee benefit to their employees. 70,000 plus businesses today use our small business protection. And in total, over 4.4 million lives are covered. What that means is that your neighbors, your friends, people in your community live their lives differently because of our services. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what our services do here in a second. I'm going to start with something that's all too familiar to every single one of us. As a matter of fact, most of us have had identity theft touch our lives. It's been one of the top consumer complaints filed with the FTC for 16 years. Now, I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on one thing here. Your identity is not the same thing as your credit score. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that. I think today, 2023, most people understand that. But that's the reality, because what your identity really is it's your good name in the community. It's your brand in the marketplace. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. So your identity is really important. And again, one of the top consumer complaints filed by the FTC for the last 16 years, victims are spending an exorbitant amount of time and money dealing with the problem. When this lands at your front door, it's all consuming. By the way, the criminals are getting smarter. I remember when I got started in this business 20 years ago, it sounded like science fiction, the very idea that your identity could be stolen. But isn't it interesting that every cyber breach that's happening more and more often, it's often the biggest breach in the history of breaches. The criminals are getting smarter. They're not being punished or found in most cases. So that's why you need identity theft protection. That's more than just a website. That's more than just some information or a pamphlet or a packet so that you can know what to do when it lands at your door. It's bigger than that. I want to take it back to having employees, having a business. The fact is, when identity theft lands at the doorstep of your employees, of the people that you're doing business with, when are they going to deal with these problems? Well, are they going to call the DMV, the Social Security Administration, their credit card companies, their banks, the credit bureaus? Are they going to do that at night after they leave work? Or are they going to be making those calls while they're at work? Are employees who fall victim to identity theft, are they going to be all in on what they're supposed to be doing at work, or are they distracted, maybe even irritable? Simply put, it's hard to focus on your work when this is coming down all around you. And businesses see an increase in absenteeism and running late, or what we call presenteeism, when the person is at work physically, but their mind is somewhere else because of identity theft. Now, I know that you know that identity theft and solutions that are being presented in the marketplace is an incredibly loud thing, right? I mean, we're being marketed identity theft solutions all the time. But one of our flagship products is called ID Shield. And ID Shield does, first of all, exactly what you think something called ID Shield would do. It does the monitoring of what matters most to us, who we are, our name, our date of birth, our social security information, all of those documents that make us who we are, like our driver's license, our passport. It monitors our mailing addresses to make sure that these thieves aren't changing our mailing address and doing all the things that they do. All of the monitoring in the world is incredibly important because you want to know where you are. And you want to know what's going on with your identity. You want to know if your information is on the dark web. You want to know if it's being traded. You want to know if it's being used, right? And I'm talking about for ourselves individually, for the employees that we have. Think about this, though. There is monitoring, of course, and monitoring matters. And whether it's your personal information, your credit score, your credit cards, your checking accounts, your 401k, you want to know what's going on with all of these things. But let me ask you a question. Knowing is one thing, but what are you going to do about it? And as I talked about, when are the employees, when are people like you and I that find ourselves in this situation, when are we going to be able to deal with it? And the way that we deal with it today is completely different because of ID Shield. Now, not only do we get this great monitoring, and I skipped a page there, let me go back real quick. Not only do we get this great monitoring, not only do we have the technology to protect us, like password managers and a VPN proxy one system, we have the ability to proactively manage our own reputation on social media through this incredible tool called ID Shield, which means that the technology scans for potential reputation damaging content on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. But that's not all, because the reality is that identity theft, when it lands at your front door, what you need is experts. So having great monitoring, having proactive plans in place is very important. But the reality is that in most situations, when identity theft lands at your front door, if you do have some kind of service, that service usually gives you coaching, gives you direction on what you should do. Here's the problem. The average identity theft victim spends about 700 hours solving the problem on their own and finding themselves frustrated that they can't seem to solve it. But with ID Shield, you don't just get monitoring and information and proactive management, you get comprehensive restoration. With a $3 million identity fraud protection plan and licensed private investigators that do whatever it takes, they'll work as long as it takes to restore your identity, your good name, your brand in the marketplace, who you are, what people say about you when you're not in the room, they'll restore that to the pre-theft status. Now, that is an incredible way to have peace of mind, and Forbes thinks so too. Forbes ranked us #1 in 2021, and you're going to see that ID Shield is going to continue to be ranked as the top identity theft solution in the marketplace. And the reason for that is simple. When identity theft happens to you, happens to your employees, happens to the people around you that you care about, you need experts that know what to do and can step in and do that work. And equally, our other flagship product is called Legal Shield. Now, through a mobile app, just like with ID Shield, you get the ability to access attorneys anytime you need them. And I'm going to talk about how that works here in a second. But just think about this. On your own phone, you can request a consultation right through the mobile app. You don't have to do phone tag with your lawyers. Our members can actually provide the best contact method directly from the app, and the attorneys will call them back, usually within 4 business hours. They can upload documents, send pictures, and other secure information right through the app, and they can sign in with the biometric features through Apple, Facebook, and Google. Now, you might be thinking, because I'm going to show you what these services do and why they're impactful to your employees, why they will help you attract the top talent and retain that talent, but you got to be thinking to yourself, well, what kind of attorneys am I going to get when I tap the buttons on a mobile app? Well, I want you to know that the average firm tenure with our company is 19 years. The average lawyer inside of this system has 22 years of experience. We cover every part of all 50 states across the country, and all of our matters are handled inside of our provider attorney network. As a matter of fact, that attorney network today is over 6,000 lawyers. So when I use the services, I'm getting the top attorneys. So what are those services that these top attorneys are doing? Well, let me just ask you to go on a quick journey with me. I'm going to do a quick example of exactly how Legal Shield works. And I want you to think about this. Let's say that you were my attorney. And instead of charging me the hourly rate that you normally charge of $300 an hour, I come to you with a proposition. I say, listen, what I'd like to do is I don't want you to charge me $300 an hour every time I call, every time I need you. What I want you to do is give me one price, one monthly flat rate, and I'll stroke you a check once a month, and I want you to do everything I need. And here's what I need you to do. I just want you to play along with me and ask yourself, what would you have to charge me for everything that I need? First of all, I want you to take care of answering all of my legal questions, giving me advice and consultation on any number of legal issues. I don't want to Google it anymore. I don't want to wonder anymore. I don't want to be worried about it anymore. I want a real attorney to go in and answer these questions for me so I can sleep better at night. I want you to write letters and make phone calls on my behalf. Listen, sometimes people are treating me unfairly, pushing me around. Maybe I'm having trouble getting a claim paid. Maybe I'm having trouble with a mechanic. Maybe I'm just having a disagreement with a retailer in the community. I don't want to be frustrated. I don't want to have to say, let me speak to your supervisor. Instead, I want you to step in, because I know that when my attorney sends a letter or makes a call on my behalf, it's going to go very differently than when I'm trying to do it myself. I also want you to review every document before I sign it. I don't want to have anything placed in front of me anymore that I just sign and hope it's okay, or click agree on a screen and hope that I made the right choice. I want to know that a document that was put in front of me that was prepared by somebody else's attorney to be in their best interest is also in my best interest. So I want you to review every document before I sign it. Now, remember, I just want you to come up with one rate about what you would have to charge me for this. And while I'm sharing this with you, let me give you a few other thoughts. If the IRS comes calling, I want you to be there to give me audit assistance. If I get sued, I want you to be there with civil trial defense. If I have an uncontested divorce, adoption, separation, or name change, I want you to take care of that for me as well. If I get a ticket down the street from my house going to the grocery store or all the way across the country, I want you to go represent me in traffic court. And the reason is simple, right? I mean, who wants their insurance rates to keep going up? I don't want mine to. And I know that having an attorney step in and go to traffic court for me to appear in front of the judge on my behalf can often have a completely different outcome. And especially compared to me just flipping the ticket over, signing it, admitting guilt, and mailing it in. So I want you to take care of that for me as well. I also want you to take care of getting my will done for me, including my living will, my financial and healthcare power of attorney, the peace of mind that comes from that. And by the way, 20% of Americans get this done, and about 80% don't. And I want you to make sure that I have this. I don't want to be intimidated by the process. I don't want to be faced with the high cost. I don't want to be confused and see this cumbersome. I just want you to take care of it for me. And I want you to update it every year at no additional cost, because I do know this, of the 20% of people that usually get their will done, they typically do it one time in their life. And the fact is, we all know this, but every time you buy a house, sell a house, buy a car, sell a car, get married, get divorced, have kids, have grandkids, start a new career, retire, and any of those other life events in between, every time those things happen, you need a new will. And even if nothing changes over the course of a year, probably the laws will change. So you need your will updated. So I want you to create it for me. I want you to update it every year for me as well. And I want it to be easy. So I want it to be as easy as using the mobile app or a simple website to put in the information that you need so you can create it for me right away. And oh, by the way, before I finish this exercise, I want you to be there 24 hours a day for me. Because if I'm having an emergency or any member of my family is, we can't wait for your office to open at 9 o'clock the next morning. So I need you to sleep with your cell phone on, and I need you to answer it when it rings. That means if any member of my family is in any kind of an emergency, I have the peace of mind of knowing I can just tap a button on the app and talk to my attorney 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And again, I want it to be simple. I want to be able to access it through my phone, through the computer. How much would you have to charge me? Really? I mean, that's the exercise. What would it cost if you were my attorney for this level of peace of mind and service? And by the way, what you're looking at right here is exactly how our customers, which we call members, access these services. They can do it through any device that they have. We make it simple. When I got started as a customer 30 years ago, we had a laminated plastic card, looked like a Blockbuster video card. But now with this intuitive and feature-rich suite of services accessible on any device, not only do all of your employees have access to their rights, but they have access to them in a way they already understand how to connect. And that's powerful as well. Now, what else our company does is we provide what we call supplements that speak to the needs of every member of our community. Because for some folks, they have home-based businesses or side projects they're doing. We can protect that as well. Some folks drive Uber and Lyft and other rideshare services, and we have protection in place for them. Folks that carry a firearm, we have protections for them as well. And we can speak to the needs of all of the employees in your group with things that really matter to them in their lives. Now, for you as a business owner, I want to come back and address you because I'm here to talk about how to attract and retain top talent with a benefits package that's second to none. But also for you as a business owner, I want you to sleep better at night. And 60% of small business owners who said they experienced a legal event in the past 2 years reported not hiring an attorney to help them. And we know why, because of the cost. And the owners reported spending an average of $7,600 on legal expenses per year. And 20% said they spent $10,000 or more for legal help. Most business owners are ultimately priced out of the system, meaning they don't have the same access to a solution for legal events in their business that their competitors have. And our company allows you to change all of that, because with our small business legal plan, you can have more than one designated user, you plus your administrators at work. You get business legal consultation and advice. You have the ability to have consultation on specialty areas of law, have contracts and documents reviewed for your business, have the ability to pick up the phone and talk to your attorney about your legal issues, but also to be able to have your attorneys make phone calls and write letters on your behalf, to write collection letters when needed, to offer interstate coverage, and to give you peace of mind as a business owner. Now, some of the business owners that are watching this today, you have commercial truck drivers on the road. Some of you are CDL drivers as well. And we have a supplemental plan that speaks to the needs of these individuals that are driving our economy, frankly, across the nation. Whether it's tragic accident, criminal representation, license reinstatement, moving violation representation, property damage collection, personal injury, and all the other ways that folks are concerned about their legal rights and how they operate their businesses, we can speak to that. Now, what most people do is they get both plans. So what you end up with is Legal Shield and ID Shield on your own mobile phone in the palm of your hand, the ability to tap the app and get access to both of these incredible services. And for our members that have both services, they also get the additional benefit of credit counseling and education, because the dual Legal Shield and ID Shield members receive these benefits, which is advice on managing your finances to maintain or develop healthy credit. And the law firm will advocate for you in complicated credit matters, sending letters to credit bureaus on your behalf when there's errors. So it's powerful to have both of these services together, and they can receive counseling on debt management, financial budgeting, all of the things that are weighing people's minds down today, how to build their credit, how to rebuild their credit, how to have the ability to buy a home, mortgage risks, and the education that comes with that, creating a budget, having positive spending habits, understanding credit card APR and all of these other things. And by the way, these services, not only do they cover the employee, we also cover the family. You can cover the member and the spouse, dependent children up to the age of 26. Really, it's peace of mind for the whole family. Now, some of you are saying, listen, this all sounds great, but is it within reach reasonably of the people that work with me? And at $9.67 weekly to cover the whole family with Legal Shield and ID Shield, for most families, this is wildly within reach. Now, some folks will get just Legal Shield or just ID Shield, and you'll see that pricing on the screen as well. But overall, most folks are opting for both services being offered to their employees so that they can get the benefit of all of this. Isn't that powerful? That they're able to get all of these incredible services, and these incredible services are within reach financially for just about every member of the community. And we have a way to bring that reach even further with a program called Member Perks. Because when you're a company like us with over 4 million customers, the biggest brands on the planet want to do business with those customers. So today, you can access over 400 companies and save money on things that you and your employees are already spending money on now, whether it's travel or hardware and software, whether it's your gym membership or going to the movies, it's your Disney Plus or your cell phone plan. In our house, we realize savings that far outweighs our investment in Legal Shield and ID Shield every month. As a matter of fact, the average monthly savings is $49. So our Legal Shield members who use the Member Perks program have access to all of these companies, access to real savings, and it really makes a difference in their lives. So why offer legal and identity theft plans in your business? Well, they appeal to everyone, and everyone is approved. So there's no underwriting process. All of your employees that want to get these services can get them. They're priced within reach of almost every family. And this is a situation where these services are something that your employees will use, not just when bad things happen. Because of the proactive nature of Legal Shield and ID Shield, they're in a position where they're empowered to use these services, not putting them on the shelf and hoping they never need them. As a matter of fact, what you'll find is they become central to how people live their lives. That's been the reality for me and so many countless other thousands of people that I've worked with over the years, that they make decisions completely differently because they have these services. It's easy to implement. The administration on the plans is simple. And I'm going to just talk about that as I'm wrapping up, because I know that we're running low on time, but we have a platform called Legal Shield at Work that allows you to have simple access to everything you need. There's no long-term contract. There's no claim forms for you to deal with on your end. It's portable and rate stable. This is a program that cannot be used for employer and employee related issues. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, here's something I want to stop on for a second, what we call participation and utilization. A lot of times you've probably been in a position where you've brought something in and not very many employees signed up for it. Now, sometimes nobody elected the coverage, and that wasn't really an issue, although it did waste your time, and I can understand the frustration. But what's even more frustrating is when only a few people elect to get involved in a program, and now you have to administrate it for a handful of employees. What we see is major participation in these services. Because the fact is that when we step into your, and I'm going to talk about how we enroll the employees, but when we step into an enrollment environment with your staff, about half of the employees walking into that enrollment have legal issues that Legal Shield can address right away. So right there, even during the meeting, we find ourselves in a position where we're allowing people to breathe for the first time, where we're taking a burden off their shoulders right there during the meeting. And frankly, that's just not the case with most of the benefits that are being offered. So we've got great participation because of that, and people use their plan. And again, it's guaranteed issue product because there's no underwriting process. which also means that we can do the enrollment in a group setting where we don't have to create a setup for each individual employee. So how do we do this? Well, we have enrollment, payment, and billing that's flexible and convenient for a business of every size. So we can do enrollments on paper. We have a secure website. We have electronic file transferability for payroll and fringe benefits. You can do monthly electronic invoicing or self-billing. We have the option to do payroll deduction, employee sponsored or employee paid, and self-payment as well. So I'm about out of time. It's 12:25 here on the East Coast. I just want to talk to you about next steps. Legal Shield and ID Shield matters, and it's important in the lives of your employees. Most people have never heard of our services until we step onto your job site to enroll the employees. But I think you can understand now, as a business owner, an HR manager, someone that's advocating for employees on the job site, that having this peace of mind that comes with offering these services just flat out makes sense. And with no cost to you at the company, you're realizing a bottom line benefit without having to add this to your budget. So what I'd like you to do is get back to the person that invited you to this overview, and they're going to walk you through the rest of these next steps. And what will be number 2 is we'll schedule an implementation meeting with myself or one of our other leaders in the team. In that implementation meeting, we'll talk about the best way for your company, based on your size, your geographic location or locations, and the way you normally do benefits. We'll come up with the best strategy for getting this information out to your employees, and of course, getting you set up so that you can offer this as part of your benefits package. We'll also answer your questions and determine the best way to move forward for you, and whether or not you have the commercial drivers or you have a need for the small business plans based on your number of locations as well. So we're going to go through all of that with you. It's been my absolute pleasure to be here. Again, get back to the person that invited you to this overview today, and they will walk you through scheduling an implementation meeting with myself or one of the other leaders in the team. We'll help you get this position so that you can bring peace of mind to all of your employees, your staff, your other business owners that are part of the decision-making team as well. It's been my absolute pleasure to be able to introduce Legal Shield and ID Shield to you, and to help you realize real bottom line benefits for your company while you help serving your community as well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.